first talk about exactly where does all this information come from to put together the index?
Sure. So most of the information comes from companies' proxy statements. What's different about this particular executive with Woodman, we got this information from their company's prospectus dealing with the IPO.
So the S-1 filing.
Exactly.
And where exactly does Nick Woodman end up? I mean, at the top, but what's the number that we're talking about here?
Sure. So we value pay as of a company's fiscal year end. He was granted 4.5 million restricted stock units before the company IPO'd last year. So at the company's fiscal year end, that was worth $284.5 million. So that puts him atop our ranking.
Now, is it typical that a company like this would offer these kinds of stock awards? Is that the way the companies reward executives now?
Certainly, certainly. And, you know, we've seen a lot of the guys on top of our ranking actually have pre-IPO awards that then skyrocket after the company goes public, putting them at the top of their list. So we have a couple of guys from Springleaf who got pre-IPO grants who are now, you know, have pay packages worth more than $100 million.
And, for example, I know that you looked at, let's say, the pay of Microsoft's chief executive, Satya Nadella. There is some back and forth with the company about actually allocating the pay on an annual basis.
Exactly. So if you looked at Nadella's summary compensation table, you would show that he got about $84 million last year. But some of those awards, Microsoft said in their proxy, were meant for the next 7 years. So we take those awards and we annualize them, which brings his pay number back down to about 45 on the index.
Are there things also like units that are awarded to executives that then somehow turn into restricted stock or stock that can then be sold later rather than options?
Of course, of course. So, you know, a lot of times, well, there's both going on. You know, a lot of these restricted stock units are tied to performance. You know, options sometimes can be tied to performance or just time vesting. A lot of these new companies like GoPro are awarding restricted shares instead of options because their inherent value is zero and you can exercise them at any price, as opposed to an option where you need to create value above and beyond a strike price. So it gives a little more advantage to a CEO of a startup.
In other words, you're never underwater in those cases.
Right.